On from the bottom, looking at our attacks, we're looking at our cross choke and our scissor sweep. But I'm going to focus first of all on just the details, because having a really good cross choke or a powerful cross choke completely changes how effective your guard is. The nice thing about your cross choke, you don't have to open up your guard. You don't have to risk losing position in attacking it. Of course, creating angles makes things better. But really what it comes down to is the wrist work, right? Someone who has a really good cross choke, it's pretty much, they don't utilize their arms that much, it's all on the wrist. So, a few things here I want you to think about, detail-wise. Has anybody worked with dough before? Yeah, so baking or whatever else, but think about, like, you know, that half kids big. There we go. Okay, now, or, you know, think about plasticine if you remember our youth and all, okay? You would never try and massage dough with your fingers. You would have, like, unless you've been doing it for 20 plus years, it's too rigid. Your hands, your fingers would lose steam. So what you're going to be using is your palms to try and break it down and massage that dough in, right? To try and create some pressure. Now, our cross choke position, we're going to be going for one in particular, is going to be first grip, palm facing you. Second grip, palm facing the person. So what I want you guys just to try here really quickly is just go onto your knees. I want you to think about trying to put as much pressure into the mats over your wrist. So I'm curling my wrist in, using the hard part of my wrist in on the mat, and then my other wrist here, that's the heel of the palm, and I'm trying to massage the dough down into the pressure there. Now remember, right now we don't have anything to anchor our hands, but just to feel the pressure, again, I'm curling my wrist in and I'm curling my wrist in to try and create that pressure. And you can imagine if you had something really dense that you're trying to heat up and work into, again, that dough analogy, you can think how you could probably do that for a long time without gassing out your arms, because it's more about how you're putting the pressure down and using a bigger muscle group than, again, fingers trying to do something. Okay, so when you get your cross grip, or when you get your cross choke, you're going to be rolling those wrists in, like you're trying to knead their neck as though it was dough. Okay? Now, grips wise, I'm just going to use this here so you can kind of see. This will be a little bit funny. Now remember, the lapel is essentially a belt, right? It's just that it's connected to something, right? You guys can kind of see that. So it's around the person's neck here. So my first hand is going to go in. Now remember, my hand isn't going to be doing the choke, and it's not my arm either, right? It is the wrist. So we have a bump here on the wrist, and we have a bump here on the wrist. And we're going to be trying to get that aligned with the arteries of the neck, right? So my first hand goes in, I establish my grip, lean off to the side so then I can get my other grip. Now a lot of people, they make the mistake of, again, trying to split their elbows open, and they start pulling like this. But think, my hands are here in a V with my grips, so I'm trying to create pressure on the arteries, which would be on the inside of that V there, the front of the neck, if you think again about that V. So if I pull my elbows apart, I open the pressure up off of the arteries. Now of course, you will create some pressure into the throat, but that's not very efficient. Also, we're working off the bottom, so if I split my elbows open, I'm having to pick myself up, and now I'm fighting my strength. So what we want to do is actually scissor closed. However, if I close like this, I block my body, but luckily we have more mechanics in our shoulders here. So when I get my grips, I'm going to, again, elbows tight, but then I pull my elbows past my hips, and that's what's going to create the pressure. So again, I get my grips, and I want these as close as possible. So again, I knead the dough. This is obviously way thicker than the neck, but just so you can kind of see where I'm putting pressure. I knead the dough, and then again from here, I'm not opening my elbows up, I'm pulling it in. And then this way, when we're doing guard work, I have my whole body to pull the person in. You can see how much pressure I'm putting on the neck. Okay, so there, palm up, first hand, lean over, catch the second grip, curl, kneading the dough, just like we practiced, and then again, elbows to your chest, or elbows past your hips, knees to your chest, to finish the attack, okay? So, other thing that we can think about is how we can use our grip. So from here, what a good detail is that, again, if I just curl, right, kneading the dough, elbows in, it'll do a lot of the work for me. But there's one other twist we can do here with our grip. I want you guys to try and split the back of the gi. So with your grips here, I want to think about pulling apart, trying to tear the lapel, or the belt in this case, because what ends up happening is that because my hands are anchored, when I try and split the back of the gi, it pulls my wrist together. You can see how that gap closes up when I try and, again, tear the back of the gi open. So knee, tear the back of the gi, and then everything finishes with the bottom. Okay? All right, so now, Greg, apologies for having to use you all the time. Whoops. Greg's eating some now. So, first of all, I need to break his posture. Okay? So we gotta break his posture down, because if I can't get my grips in range, I can't have a viable attack. Remember, I will not be able to choke him with my hands. Okay? I need to get my grips high enough up, anchoring my hands in so that the wrist is in position with the artery, which is again coming basically under the ear here and then coming down towards the center. You can almost follow the V of this muscle group here, and it's just on the outside for the most part, just as a general location. So easy way, or just the drilling way, swim. Hands come inside, I bring the hands off of my body, knees to the chest, and I do want him on top of me, not like the Kimura, where I would want him sitting back and just hands off. I do want him hovering, right? Bring the guy forward in tall. Now, if my right hand is my dominant arm, that's going to be my first grip, because that's going to be the main choking grip. Left hand or left thumb goes in, I'm going to open the lapel up with my thumb so I can see the back of his gi, and then that way I can then feed a nice strong grip in. A lot of people pull down to try and pull the gi to them, but you end up blocking your hand and you lessen how much room you have. So open on an angle, 45 up top, and that way you have lots of room, and then I can just tighten it down by getting my grip and establishing my first hand, okay? Now, just for the sake of being nice to Greg while I drill here, I'm not gonna curl my wrist right off the bat, but good habit is that as soon as you establish that first strong choking grip, I curl immediately. Remember, kneading the dough. Strong grip, but again, I'm not gonna do that right now. So, very simple. I could just lean towards his ear here, just like we did for the pivot and bite on the armbar, but without opening up our legs. And then just think about going for a karate chop on the side of his neck here. Okay? Obviously don't actually strike the person. But the idea is to create that anchor. You just dip your head down for a second. I don't want to go here, wrist in, and then grabbing his shoulder. I want to reach for my thumb. Obviously I'm not going to actually grab it, but I get my pinky as close to it as I can, and then I bring everything back in. So remember details. Curl the wrist in, remember kneading the dough, curl the wrist in, and that should be enough to get the guy to tap, okay? But now I split the gi, that really creates pressure, and then if I add body, so this is all wrist right now, and then now if I add all the power of pulling my elbows past my hips, knees in, collapsing, it's a brutal choke. So one more time, swim, knees to your chest, open the lapel up, remember non-dominant hand, opening the pathway for the dominant hand, and always make sure you're cinching that grip up. There's always gonna be a little bit of slack in there. Okay, strong grip. Curl your wrist right off the bat, but again, like if you have a deep grip, if I just curl here, like a lot of people wanna tap just off that. Okay, lean to the side, drag that arm in, but I don't wanna go reaching up like this because I'll shortchange myself. Better to go deep and then slide it in place. And sorry, location of this grip, guys, don't grab the actual lapel. I don't know if you can see that, dip your head down again. I'm not grabbing this. When I get my grip here, I create this ruffle on the back of his gi. I want to equalize the pressure throughout the two grips. If I split the difference, I'm gonna have play between the two grips. So when I get here, I'm trying to grab where my fingers actually went, following this thread here. Everything closes in. Remember, knead the dough, split the back of his gi, and then pull in for a tight choke. Okay? Got it, or one quick run through again? One more quick run through. Swim, knees to the chest. Open the lapel, reach deep. When you reach, guys, think about wrapping his neck. Don't go this way. Like I'm trying to get behind as deep as I can. Twist to the side, drag your forearm down his chin, because what if he was protecting by trying to drop his jaw? Well, that's up to him. He can either get rug burn, or he can give himself, or give me a clean choke. Curl, pull, finish. Okay? Now, a lot of times, we're gonna have variation. Of course, there's tons with this. As far as how you're setting up your hands, traditional Elliot Gracie, underside grip, which is a bit tougher to get, but it's a cleaner, more efficient choke. And then again, we start getting the leg work in as far as repositioning our body, creating better angles. But this is just the base. I want you guys focusing on getting that wrist position. When you go back and you try this, one step at a time. See if you can tap them just by curling, right? Kneading the dough, not working. Add the breaking of the back of the gi, split it, still not tapping, then add knees to chest and pull. But if you have a good cross choke, if your grips are deep enough, you should just go like this and get the guy to tap. Okay? Let's go. In this position, you're probably going to be on your back for the most part, a little bit flatter than we hope to be, but we can increase the power of this choke by increasing the angle. So that first hand that goes in, we're going to try and hip out away from it or to it, depending on your perspective. Because remember, this is the main choking arm. Basically, this is doing 90% of the choke. This just closes it off just to keep the guy in play and just kind of squeeze off that artery. Now, one other detail is that you have at least 5 seconds before you're going to pass it. Okay, so a lot of times, yeah, it's super tight choke. You want to tap immediately. It's painful. But you need to be able to understand that you have time to fight and resist and stay calm and everything else before you actually have to tap. So as a person on the bottom, how I said, first start with just the kneading the dough, curling the wrist, then splitting the gi, and then adding the arms in. Like if you go for a choke and you're in the middle of a fight or a competition, you get both on, you slam the whole power on, and you start squeezing, and then 10 seconds goes by because he's surviving, and then you're starting to get tired, and now you've burnt out your whole system. You have nowhere else to go, or no extra strength to go to because you went right to 100% right off the bat. Then you're shortchanging yourself. Whereas you catch, you focus on getting those deep grips in, and it just goes as a chain. Like I usually do a 5-second countdown. I start to curl, 5, start to split, 4, 3, 2, 1. So by the time he's starting to get to that point where he needs to tap, because I'm cutting off all the circulation from his brain, then it's just getting worse and worse and worse. It's not that he deals with my full strength and then realizes he can survive it, and then I get tired and then I have to move on, right? And I burnt my grips in. So try and do that. So again, swim. Now, realistically, guys, the swim, this is just for drilling. No gi, you can do this, okay? But in the gi, he's holding on. But you can still use this. I just have to go through and get my hands together and actually break his grip and go for it. Now, when I establish this grip here, I get my first grip on like normal, but now I'm going to make this angle way worse for him. So right now I'm on the artery, but if I angle off to the side, now it's getting across his throat too. Okay, so it just makes it a lot nastier. So get your grip, block the bicep, but I don't want to push him away, and I don't want to hip escape away because now I give him an angle here. Think like you're trying to bury your butt back towards the wall behind him on the opposite side. So I get my grip, block the bicep so it's harder for him to follow me, throw an uppercut, and I shift his weight above as I hip back, and I climb my leg up high. So now I'm also breaking his posture, and you can see here the angle, how my elbow, you can't overdo this, but the angle here is such that it's really easy to stay under his jaw. For him to try and now drop his chin is gonna be tough. Whereas if I stay flat here, naturally there's a little bit more play that I need to now focus on keeping my elbow buried to his chest or the floor. So again, hip out, and I pull him above me. And I step up nice and high here, and I can still adjust and create a better choke here. I'll loosen this up a bit for Greg, okay? Because I like Greg, right? Now again, from this position, you also force him to look to the side a bit, which means that if I wanted to, from this spot, if I wanted to go for the Elliot Gracie style choke, if I open his jaw with my forearm, because he can't turn his head anymore to drop underneath. So now I can open it and then get my second hand in, butterfly it in, and then have a nice strong choke. Or from here, now I have a real good angle on that second grip that we already used. From here, remember we're gonna shade his face. If he doesn't give me a clean choke, right, he wants to try and block with his face, that's up to him. Use your forearm, turn it into him. A lot of times you can finish the choke without even getting the grip. Okay, so long as this hand is the same. But the details for the finish are the same. Okay. okay? Knead, pull, and here. It's just gonna be nastier because now I'm catching his throat along with the arteries, okay? Quick follow-up, if he does start to block the arm, here trying to push down and open up his neck, then you have the drag and finish from here. If he wants to use this hand, well, that's where we switch into our arm lock. So there's a wheelhouse of problems for him. But let's just keep it to the ankle. Swim, deep grip, control the bicep, throw an uppercut, bring him forward and away as I kind of hip escape my butt back, or just to get onto my side. And again, shave his face, catch the grip, and finish from here in the same way you were before, but now with that exaggerated angle, which makes it way, way worse. Okay? Let's go, let's give that a quick try. Anybody? No? No one? No one?
Nursery rhymes?
Sorry?
Nursery rhymes?
That's not. Let's use hazard. Now, yeah. Now, one little detail with this, just to add in, because you should have been doing it already, but just to add one extra detail for it, okay? So everything's the same. Swim, pull her forward, get your grip, hip out to the side. Now, remember, this is going more across her throat. So naturally, there's gonna be more pain if she looks towards my hand, right? So if she's looking this way, okay, I don't know, give me a E flat, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna sing, and then now turn and you can hear what happens, right? So you're getting a lot more tension on the throat. So when you catch the second grip here, and remember we were dragging down, this hand is doing everything it was doing before, right? Curl, curl, pull back like this. But this one here, before we wouldn't want to split our elbow because it wouldn't make sense to create more pressure. But when I'm on this angle, if I can turn her face into the choke, then I can create a little bit more pain. So when I'm here and I'm doing this, instead, I'm still going to be curling and pulling and everything else, kneading the dough, all those details. But if I shave my arm now, which I probably should do, I'm a hairy guy, okay? Again, from here, but if I now push my forearm in, I'm gonna turn her jaw to look into the choke too. So when I get this here, if she's kind of buckling down and really trying to survive, if I just kind of drive her jaw into it, which also isn't that comfortable, you turn her into the pressure. So just as one extra detail. Start with just, curling and your basic pull, but then you just get mean with it if they aren't tapping. Okay? All right, so scissor sweep, guys. Lots of variation again on any of these fundamental techniques. We always have lots of little details we can add. We're just going to do a simple one. Why I like to teach it off the cross choke is that the viability of the cross choke is based on the depth of the first hand. So if she has really good posture and you can't break her down and you just can't quite get tight enough where it makes sense to go for a choke, right? The most sweeps require you to break posture. The scissor sweep actually works really well when people have posture because you have the range. So I have my first hand, but I just can't get tight enough where I want to go for the choke. Other hand, same side sleeve, right? Lapel sleeve. Nice and at the end here. Hip escape off to the side, and then my shin comes across the waist. Now I've talked a lot about this detail-wise. Old school, we'd always go really low, pick the person up, so bring the weight off of their legs, which still details that work, and you can flip them. But what's happening is that if you set your leg low across the hip, if she collapses on top and sprawls, right, you can sometimes get your guard smashed. So to combat that, we bring our knee a little bit higher. Now if you think about your 4 points, if we were like in half guard, my knee should be on the shoulder, but now I don't have as much strength for the actual chop, right, to actually sweep her. So we split the difference here. Not here, not here. Halfway through, okay? Now I could sweep off of my shoulder. Some people prefer that, but I like to have mobility. Come up onto your elbow and adjust your strength. Now range-wise, you can imagine if I was here on her, you can see how balled up my legs are, like this isn't strong. But if I go too far out, well now I'm losing control. She'll be able to step over my foot and take away the angle. So I need to make sure I feel like I'm in a comfortable spot. So one more time here. I go for my grip, she's posturing up, so I just stay with the sleeve, hip, shin across, adjust, and then again, find the right range for your knee. So it feels strong, you can block her pressure, but you can still cut across. Now from this position, wind up, I sweep the floor, while my knee and my hip drive, and then it finishes with a kick. Whenever, usually it happens with kids, but when we say to kick, what they end up doing is extend their leg, but we want to cut her in half, right? So I'm trying to kick past my feet. Again, scissor through here, and then I follow up on top. You already have a cross grip. You have to watch the momentum though in case she bumps and rolls with you. So make sure you base, but if you still have a good grip, I can just finish with the same cross choke, but on top here too. But to err on the side of caution, it's good to let go and just make sure you have your base. Again, here, lapel, she's staying away, I can't get tight enough. Hip out, shin across, come up, adjust your legs. Now, initially here, this is really safe too. If she starts getting a little bit wily, just close, right? So just stay here. Now, I don't want to chop her at the hip, right? I can't cut her in half there. I got to sweep the floor with her, and then the upper leg is driving her through. Now, a big problem too for people on the scissor sweep when they hit a lot of resistance, it's usually because they're upright. Right? We're not Superman. I can't throw her and sweep her through the air. I want to put her here so I face that way. Okay? Here and here, wind up, chop and kick, and on top, base, or if you have the grip, you can go for the cross choke on top. Okay? One more time. Now, like I said, there's a lot of details here as far as when we hit resistance or she counters me, but in general, again, hip out, up top here. Like if she ends up resisting my push here, oh, angles, guys. If I'm hitting her here in the knee, I'm not gonna be able to take her out, right? I need to make sure that I'm changing my angle so I'm taking her over her ankle where it's easy to get her to collapse, right? Now, if she steps up or she posts, same thing. If I try and sweep her over her ankle right now, it's not gonna work. The mechanic is here, the bend. So if I angle myself here, I make her go to her knee, and then now from here I can kick it out and follow that up. Or again, old school, just to give you a couple options, is if I'm hitting a lot of resistance on the sweep and I feel like she's, I fall off my shoulder and I bring my knee up to make her legs light, so now I can kick through a lot easier. So there's always going to be an answer for that resistance. There's always going to be a what if. That's what jiu-jitsu is, right? Move to counter to counter to counter to counter until check. Okay? So start with the standard one, hip out, chop and kick, and then just kind of play around with those details, find the right way.